Hello there, it's Sigga here, and today I am just having fun with stamps and beautiful springy kind of papers. I wanted to create a set of tags focusing on stamps, and what I wanted to do with this one was to use stamp sets to create a kind of mixed media inspired background, I guess, so that you could create these tags without having to use a full sheet of pattern paper or having to own the die for these tags. So I'm using this beautiful large stamp from Graphic 45, and I'm using Distress Oxide inks, and I'm just stamping it here and there. My aim is not to get a full image of the stamp. I just want to create sections here and there. Therefore, I don't use a stamping block. I'm just using my hands and pushing it here and there until I get the effect that I'm looking for. I didn't have a specific image in mind, really. I'm just going with the flow. I'm just stamping here and there, creating a mixed media inspired background, but at the same time keeping it a wee bit vintage without having any kind of typical vintagey colours. And this is from one of the journaling cards, and I just cut the little frame that it has around it and rounded the corners because I wanted it to be, I thought that the little frame that they have around it was not what I was looking for. And I already picked a few flowers from the ephemera pack because I knew I want to add flowers here and there. And I want this to be like the main focal point of the tag. Beautiful sentiment. And I wanted to go like off the tag, similar to off the page kind of a thing. So I'm using 3D foam to add dimension to it because I do love my dimension. And also it just gives a bit of, balance to the tag, I guess. Or whatever it is, I like it. So I'm just cutting down 3D foam to cover where I want it. And of course making sure that I don't have adhesive showing where the tag goes around it. But before I adhere it to the tag, I wanted to ink the edges of the tag itself. And since I start with green ink, I wanted to add more yellow. So inking the edges in a yellow coloured ink. And now it's time to stick the journaling card bit or the main sentiment of the tag to the front. And like I said before, I'm keeping it to the side because, well, I just find it interesting. It's just fun, really. Just making sure that I have no adhesive showing, everything is looking all right. And I ink the other tag in the same way. Even though I'm using Distress Oxide inks on this, you can of course use any ink that you have at home. Now here I have two pieces that I actually cut from the 12 by 12 paper. And I just thought this was so lovely, and I'm just loving these flowers, and the sentiment on this particular one is just beautiful, and I love the shape of it. And again, I'm using 3D foam because, well, that is what I usually do. I just like dimension. Not too much, but not too little either. And I'm using every bit of my foam. I never throw foam away unless it is a tiny piece. But usually I keep every little bit. I'm just making sure that I'm covering this quite well because I don't want it to go mangled, I guess, when you handle the tag itself. And I want that to be off the page of the tag as well. So I just put adhesive where I know it won't show behind the tag itself. And then I just stick I just take the backing of the foam tape and stick that in place. I'm just placing it where I think it looks good. I'm not too much focusing on rule 30 or anything like that, just going by what I like. And the ephemera pack has so many beautiful floral images and other images, and I found these two butterflies, and of course I had to use them on the tag. So I'm just inking them up using the same ink so that they all match perfectly in the mixed media-ishy kind of a way. And I'm just using the end of a brush to make the butterflies look three-dimensional. I just love that about paper. You can manipulate it so that it looks more fuller than it does when it's completely just flat like regular paper, really. And then I finally picked out those flowers that I wanted to use, and I'm inking these flowers in the same ink as I used before. So pretty. And I'm doing the same thing as I did with the butterflies, using that end of a paintbrush to actually make them fuller or dimensional looking, really. And then I stick some foam tape where the flowers will be on the tag itself, and just a little bit of adhesive so that it stays put on the sentiment piece. I guess you don't have to really, but I want to make sure, since this is a tag, I know that it will move a wee bit, so I just want to make sure nothing is going to fall off. Hopefully not fall off. And I'm just creating a little cluster there at the corner and putting adhesive in the middle of a butterfly, and to make sure that it won't get squished or anything, I am adding these tiny little squares of foam tape to the wings where I had already made them dimensional, to make sure that they will actually stay that way no matter what. And I do the same thing to the other tag, where I use that pink flower, and same, I use foam tape and adhesive to make sure everything stays where it's supposed to be. And I really like how that stamped background looks. It looks worn, and like it has a subtle mixed media vibe. That's what I love about anything, well, mixed media wise, really. You don't have to have lots of stuff. You can take ideas from things that are very busy and make them a bit calmer to suit your style. That's what I love about it. And then I just add the butterfly to the tag. These butterflies are so beautiful. Oh, absolutely love them. And now I wanted to add a bit more stamping to the background. So I'm taking the butterfly stamp from the Flower Market stamp collection, and I'm using the linen ink from Graphic 45, and it just adds a bit of movement. It doesn't take, I guess because the background ink is green, I wanted to use something subtle so that it doesn't overpower it, but you can actually see kind of a movement in the background, I guess. And I really like how that turned out. I'm really happy with that. And the problem with stamping is it's difficult to stop, really. I could go on and on, but I try to stop. But then I want to add a wee bit more. So I decided to take that little floral stamp and stamp it on the back side of the tag where I'll be writing my message. But I wanted a bit more imagery kind of relations to the back, so I put that in the corner. Just adds a tiny little touch, and I get to stamp some more, which is always great. And then I am adding a ribbon to the tag. We can't have a tag without a ribbon, can we? And I'm just using the ivory and linen trim pack, sorry. And I'm just cutting it to a length of what I did not measure at all. I just took a length that looked nice and then cut it in half, and then I'm just threading it to the through the eyelet there at the top, And I'm not going to tie a bow with this ribbon. Instead, I found a green baker's twine in my stash and I cut it into little bits, and I'm using that to add a bow at the end, or well, at the end or top, depends how you look at it, so that the ribbon doesn't go anywhere. So a tiny little bow there, just for decorational purposes and to add in a bit more green. And that way I can use that large linen ribbon to attach my tag to a package or a gift bag. And of course I can't finish a Graphic 45 creation without using my favorite matte pearls. These are so pretty and they add so much with such little effort. I just adore them. And I use any excuse to add a pearl or 15 to a project. It just like it adds dimension, adds a bit of interest. It is a bling kind of accessory without being too flamboyant, I guess. Keeps with the vintagey kind of a feel. I love that. There's no rhyme or reason where I'm putting them. I'm just putting the pearls where I think they look good. And usually I have 3 together or 2. But like I say, I'm not following any kind of rule or pattern or whatever. Just trying to imagine where I want the eye to go, really. And at the same time, I do have a difficult thing stopping with the pearl adding. But I'm trying to be self-controlled about it. And here are the tags finished. Beautiful, summery, springy, happy, hopefully sunshine soon kind of a tag. So thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to share your creations if you are inspired by this. See you later. Bye.